So it's time for number 19 in my series of comic book movie reviews. And this week we're skipping back just a bit because I, unfortunately, skipped 2 movies in the series. How I missed these 2 movies on my list, I don't know, but I did, and I did get called out on it as well. So this week I'm gonna try and make up for it and appease Crumb with what is best in life. To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of their women. Yes, this is what is good in life. Conan the Barbarian, 1982, is brought to us by director John Milius and stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Earl Jones, and Sandahl Bergman. A young boy, Conan, becomes a slave after his parents are killed and tribe destroyed by a savage warlord sorcerer, Thulsa Doom. When he grows up, he becomes a fearless, invincible fighter. Set free, he plots his revenge against Thulsa Doom. So if you've never seen Conan Barbarian, I'm willing to bet you at least know the name. Pretty much everyone knows Conan the Barbarian, but I found that in recent years especially, fewer and fewer people have actually seen the movie. The 82 movie, not the Jason Momoa remake. And I find that people have a certain view of what they think Conan is. And if you're one of those people, what I want you to do is put all of that out of your mind for a bit. Because Conan the Barbarian 1982 is fucking awesome. This is one of those movies that a lot of people just don't realize is really damn good. While on the surface it does seem like it's just a dumb action fantasy movie, it actually does have a really interesting, fun story that has its poignant moments. At its heart, it is a revenge story, so that's a story that we can all get behind. Conan's parents were killed by James Earl Jones' Thulsa Doom, and he spends his entire life trying to track this guy down and get revenge. On his journey, he meets friends, becomes a thief, and falls in love. And when that love is violently taken from him, once again by Thulsa Doom, it just fuels his fire all the more. By the end of this thing, we really want this guy to just burn the world down to get to Thulsa Doom. You're gonna want this guy to just tear this motherfucker's head off and shit down his neck. And you'll get half of that. But what else you'll get is a very exciting movie with an extremely satisfying ending. And at the same time, the movie asks some interesting questions that you're not expecting from this kind of movie. Now, while on this quest for revenge, we get a whole lot of blood, violence, and gore, and it all looks awesome. This movie is unapologetic in how violent it is. There is blood sprays all over the place, sword hits that chop off limbs, people taking axes and swords and slowly hacking people's heads off. It's fucking glorious. And this movie absolutely earns its hard R rating. Senseless violence through and through? Probably, but you know what? This motherfucker's on a revenge quest, so there's gonna be some blood spilt, and I loved every minute of it. Now, this movie has held up and stood the test of time for the most part extremely well. And while a great narrative and performances never ages, special effects absolutely can. But here, thankfully, none of them do. And one of the main reasons is because these are all almost 100% practical. We have a couple of shots of like some animated spirits in one scene, but beyond that, everything you see on screen is in camera and it looks glorious. Now, there are a handful of effects that haven't aged as well, such as when James Earl Jones' Thulsa Doom transforms slowly into a giant snake, but even that doesn't look bad. You can just tell that it is an animatronic prosthetic. Now, it's a great looking prosthetic, but you can tell that it is nonetheless. But pretty much every other effect in the movie is flawless. These are some fantastic looking practical effects. And like I said a minute ago, the gore effects are glorious and really on point here. The costumes and sets are phenomenal looking as well. They really look the part. These are some really big, vast, extremely detailed practical sets, and they all look fantastic. And the costumes all look awesome too. Overall, this is just a fantastic looking movie, but the good stuff doesn't end there because our performances, they are all great too, and all the performers were perfectly matched with the character. This was Arnold Schwarzenegger's breakout role. And honestly, while Schwarzenegger is a megastar, he's never really been known for his acting prowess so much as his physical prowess. But here, he actually does a really good job. Now, that being said, he doesn't really say a lot in this movie, and that's okay though. He lets his physical performance do all the talking that is ever need to be said by this character. I couldn't imagine anyone else in the role of Conan after this, and yes, I'm talking to you, Jason Momoa. Love you to death, but you ain't no Arnold Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger. He was perfectly cast here, and he is a fantastic Conan. This is the role that Arnold Schwarzenegger was born to play. Yeah, I know, the Terminator came a few years later, and he's well known for that. But Conan is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is Conan. James Earl Jones is great per usual, and very menacing as Thulsa Doom, but his acting chops bring a little bit of extra something to the role, and make this character a bit more than just an evil guy for evil's sake. Also, Sandahl Bergman as Valeria was fucking awesome here. This is who should have been Red Sonja. But more on that in a few weeks. And the list goes on and on. Everybody here was perfectly cast, and the performances overall were just fantastic. Guys, Conan the Barbarian is a movie that just never seems to get old. It's just as good today as when I first saw it back in the 80s, if not better. It has a motivation for our main character that anybody can get behind, and the story is just entertaining as hell. The performances are all great. This is some of the best casting that you ever will see in a movie, and everything on screen just looks phenomenal. Some will discount the movie just based on who's in it, the name, and what they think they know about it. But I'm here to tell you that Conan the Barbarian is an awesome movie, and what else it is absolutely 100% without a fucking doubt an absolute unicorn. Conan the Barbarian is just an awesome movie all around, and if you haven't seen it and just know about it, you are doing yourself a disservice. So if you're just looking for a great, exciting, just fun all-around movie for the night, then check out Conan the Barbarian, and I guarantee you are going to have a great time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of Conan the Barbarian. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys, and possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg C and Dragon Khan. Dragon Khan, by the way, is the one who called me out on skipping this movie. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Iberia.
What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
So what's next on the comic book movie review list? Actually, it's another movie I skipped, which would be the sequel to this movie. So yeah, I have 2 weeks that I gotta appease Crumb now. Crumb. I just realized that those of you that haven't seen Conan the Barbarian are probably wondering what the fuck I keep talking about with all this crumb and all that stuff. Just know that if you see the movie, you'll understand, and it's a really funny joke. Yeah, funny.